Rule 1. Think before you react. Smart people do one simple thing differently. They think before they react. This rule sounds small, it sounds simple, but it can change your life. Most people react immediately. When someone says something rude, they answer quickly. When something bad happens, they panic. When they feel angry, they speak without thinking. Reaction is fast, thinking is slow, and smart people choose slow thinking. Imagine this situation. Someone criticizes you at work. Your heart beats faster. You feel heat in your face. Your mind wants to defend itself immediately. Most people react at that moment. They speak emotionally. They try to win the argument. But smart people pause. They take a breath. They listen. They ask themselves one question. What is the best response, not the fastest response? This small pause creates power. When you react fast, emotions control you. When you think first, you control emotions. This is the first step to becoming smarter. Your brain has two systems. One is fast and emotional. The other is slow and logical. The fast system protects you from danger. It is useful. But in modern life, not everything is danger. Sometimes, the problem is not danger. It is ego. It is pride. It is misunderstanding. If you always react fast, you often create bigger problems. Smart people understand that silence can be stronger than quick words. Let's look at another example. You see a negative comment online. Someone disagrees with you. Immediately, you want to respond. You want to prove you are right. But ask yourself, will this response improve my life? Smart thinking is not about winning arguments. It is about choosing peace and long-term benefit. When you react emotionally, you may feel strong for a moment, but later you may regret your words. Thinking first protects your future. This rule also applies to decisions. When you see an opportunity, do not jump immediately. Think. When you feel excited about something new, pause. Excitement can hide risks. Fear can hide opportunities. Thinking reveals truth. Smart people do not rush big decisions. They gather information. They observe. They ask questions. They understand that one wrong reaction can destroy years of progress. Control of reaction is control of life. Here is a simple exercise. The next time you feel strong emotion, anger, fear, excitement, do this. Pause for 5 seconds. Take one deep breath. Ask, what is the smartest move here? This small habit changes your brain over time. It builds awareness. Awareness is intelligence. Many people believe being smart means knowing many facts, but real intelligence is emotional control. A person with many facts but no control can destroy relationships. A calm person with average knowledge can build strong connections. Smart people value clarity more than speed. They understand that fast reactions are often weak reactions. Let's talk about stress. When something unexpected happens, stress rises, bills increase, problems appear, deadlines move closer. If you panic, your thinking becomes unclear. You make poor decisions. But if you pause, breathe, and think, your brain works better. This is science. When emotions are too strong, logic becomes weak. When emotions are calm, logic becomes strong. So thinking before reacting is not weakness. It is strength. It shows maturity. It shows discipline. And discipline creates intelligence. Another powerful area is communication. When someone disagrees with you, instead of reacting, ask a question. Why do you think that? This simple question changes the energy of the conversation. Instead of conflict, you create understanding. Smart people seek understanding, not victory. They listen more than they speak. They respond, not react. Think about your past mistakes. How many happened because you reacted too fast? Maybe you said something hurtful. Maybe you made a quick decision. Maybe you trusted someone too quickly. Most regret comes from fast reaction. Very little regret comes from careful thinking. Becoming smarter is not about becoming faster. It is about becoming calmer. Calm thinking leads to better results. And here is the truth. Pausing feels uncomfortable at first. Your mind wants speed. Your ego wants defense. Your emotions want expression. But discipline creates growth. If you practice this rule daily, your life will change. Your relationships will improve. Your decisions will improve. Your confidence will improve. Because when you control reaction, you control direction. Direction shapes destiny. Remember, reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. Smart people choose intention. Starting today, practice this rule. Pause, breathe, think, then act. This is Rule 1. Rule 2. Learn something. Every day. Smart people have one habit that most people ignore. They learn something every single day, not once a week, not only when they feel motivated, every day. It does not have to be big. It does not have to be complicated, but it must be consistent. This small habit slowly changes the brain. It builds connections. It builds awareness. It builds confidence. Many people stop learning after school. They think education ends with a degree. But smart people understand something important. The world keeps changing. If you stop learning, you slowly fall behind. Technology changes. Business changes. Communication changes. Even the way people think changes. If you do not grow, you become outdated. Learning daily does not mean reading for 5 hours. It can be simple. 10 pages of a book, a short podcast, a new word, a new idea, a different opinion. The goal is not speed. The goal is expansion. When you learn something new, your brain creates new pathways. The more pathways you build, the easier thinking becomes. Think about your brain like a muscle. If you do not use a muscle, it becomes weak. If you use it regularly, it becomes strong. The same is true for your mind. When you challenge it daily, even a little, it grows stronger. Smart people understand this. That is why they stay curious. Curiosity is a superpower. Children are naturally curious. They ask why about everything, but many adults lose this habit. They become comfortable. They stop asking questions. Smart people never stop asking why. Why does this work? Why did this fail? Why do people think this way? Every question opens a door. Another powerful part of daily learning is humility. Smart people know they do not know everything. This is important. When you believe you already know enough, growth stops. But when you accept that you can improve every day, growth becomes automatic. Ego blocks learning. Curiosity unlocks it. Learning every day also builds confidence. When you understand more about the world, you feel less afraid of it. Fear often comes from ignorance. When something is unknown, it feels dangerous. But when you understand it, it becomes manageable. Knowledge reduces fear. Smart people do not only learn things they like, they also learn things that challenge them. They read opinions that disagree with theirs. They explore ideas outside their comfort zone. This expands perspective. Perspective creates intelligence. Let's say you learn one new idea every day for 1 year. That is 365 new ideas. Most people will not do this. This creates distance between you and average thinking, not because you are special, but because you are consistent. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. Reading for 10 minutes every day is better than reading 3 hours once a month. Small daily improvement compounds over time. Just like money grows with interest, knowledge grows with repetition. Another important part of learning daily is reflection. It is not enough to consume information. You must think about it. Ask yourself, what did I learn? How can I use this? Does this change how I see things? Reflection turns information into wisdom. Smart people also connect ideas. They do not keep knowledge separate. They look for patterns. How does business connect to psychology? How does history connect to leadership? When you connect ideas, your thinking becomes flexible. Flexibility is intelligence. Rigid thinking breaks under pressure. Flexible thinking adapts. Daily learning also protects you from stagnation. Many people feel stuck in life. Often, it is not because they lack ability. It is because they stopped growing. When growth stops, motivation fades. When you learn daily, momentum builds. Momentum creates energy. Energy creates action. Smart people create their own momentum. You do not need expensive courses. You do not need perfect conditions. You need intention. 10 focused minutes daily can change your future. Think about the people you admire. Most of them read constantly. They study. They observe. They improve quietly. They do not announce their growth. They practice it. Learning daily also improves conversation. When you understand different topics, you can speak confidently. You can listen better. You can ask deeper questions. This improves relationships and opportunities. The world rewards people who adapt. Adaptation requires knowledge. Knowledge requires learning. Learning requires discipline. This is not about becoming a genius overnight. It is about becoming slightly better every day. 1% better daily becomes powerful over time. Most people underestimate time. They overestimate quick results. Smart people reverse this. They underestimate quick results. They respect long-term growth. Here is a simple action plan. Choose one area you want to improve. It can be money, health, communication, mindset, or language. Spend 10 minutes daily learning about it. Do this for 30 days. You will notice change. Your brain will start thinking differently. Your awareness will expand. Opportunities will become visible. Learning also trains focus. In a world full of distraction, focused learning is rare. Rare habits create rare results. If you want to become smarter, make learning non-negotiable. Just like brushing your teeth, just like eating, just like sleeping. Smart people do not wait for motivation. They build systems, and daily learning is a powerful system. Remember this: intelligence is not fixed. It grows. The brain is not static. It adapts. Every new idea is a seed. Some seeds grow slowly, some grow quickly. But if you plant seeds daily, growth is guaranteed. Start today, not tomorrow. Read something small. Listen to something valuable. Ask one deeper question. Learn something every day. That is Rule 2. Rule 3. Master your environment. If you want to become smarter, stronger, and more disciplined, you must understand one powerful truth. Your environment shapes you more than your motivation. Most people try to change their life with willpower. They say, "I will focus more. I will stop wasting time. I will study harder." But they keep the same room, the same distractions, the same habits around them. Smart people understand something deeper. If you control your environment, you control your behavior. Look at your room. Is it clean or messy? Is it quiet or noisy? Is it full of distractions? Your brain responds to what it sees. A messy space creates a messy mind. A clean space creates clarity. This is not magic. It is psychology. When your desk is organized, your thoughts become organized. When your phone is always next to you, your focus becomes weak. When your TV is always on, your attention becomes divided. Smart people design their environment to support success. They remove distractions before they need discipline. If you want to read more, place a book on your desk. If you want to study, keep your workspace clean. If you want to think clearly, reduce noise. Environment makes habits easier or harder. Imagine trying to eat healthy while junk food is everywhere in your house. It is possible, but difficult. Now imagine junk food is not there. Suddenly, discipline becomes easier. Smart people reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad habits. They put their phone in another room when they work. They block distracting websites. They choose friends who push them forward, not pull them back. Your environment is not only physical, it is also social. Who do you spend time with? Do they complain or grow? Do they think big or think small? Conversations shape beliefs. Beliefs shape actions. If you are surrounded by negativity, your thinking becomes negative. If you are surrounded by growth, your thinking expands. Smart people are careful about energy around them. They limit exposure to drama. They reduce time with toxic influences. They protect their mental space. Another part of mastering your environment is information. What do you consume daily? News, gossip, complaints, or ideas, knowledge, growth? Your brain absorbs everything. If you constantly watch negative content, your thinking becomes fearful. If you consume educational content, your thinking becomes sharp. You cannot plant negative seeds and expect positive results. Smart people curate their inputs. They choose what enters their mind. Let's talk about time environment. When do you work? When do you rest? Do you have structure or chaos? Structure creates stability. Stability improves focus. If your days are random, your mind becomes random. Create a morning routine. Create a focused work time. Create quiet thinking space. Environment creates rhythm. Rhythm creates consistency. Consistency creates intelligence. Many people say, "I can work anywhere." That sounds strong, but it is often not true. Even strong minds benefit from good design. Airplanes have control panels designed for focus. Libraries are quiet for a reason. Gyms are built for training. Design matters. You are designing your life every day, whether you realize it or not. Smart people design intentionally. They ask, "Does this space help me grow?" If the answer is no, they change it. Sometimes mastering your environment means making hard decisions, changing friends, changing location, changing routines. Growth often requires discomfort, but discomfort is temporary. Growth is permanent. Another powerful truth is this: your future self depends on today's environment. If you want to become smarter in 5 years, build an environment that forces learning now. Put books near your bed. Write goals on your wall. Keep reminders visible. Make growth unavoidable. When your environment supports your goals, you rely less on motivation. And motivation is unreliable. Environment is consistent. Think about this question. Is your current environment designed for distraction or for development? Look honestly. Smart people are not smarter because they think harder all the time. They are smarter because they make smart choices easier. They remove temptation. They create focus. They protect energy. Mastering your environment also includes protecting your physical health. Light matters. Sleep matters. Clean air matters. If you are tired, your thinking becomes slow. If you are unhealthy, your focus weakens. A strong environment supports a strong body. A strong body supports a sharp mind. Everything connects. You do not need to change everything overnight. Start small. Clean your desk. Remove one distraction. Spend less time in negative spaces. Add one positive influence. Small environmental changes create large mental shifts. Over time, these shifts compound. And suddenly, you are thinking clearer, working better, learning faster. Not because you became a different person, but because you changed your surroundings. Remember this: motivation fades, willpower gets tired, environment stays. Design your environment for intelligence. Design your space for focus. Design your life for growth. That is Rule 3. Rule 4. Ask better questions. Your intelligence is not measured by how many answers you have. It is measured by the quality of your questions. Most people ask weak questions. Weak questions create weak thinking. Weak thinking creates weak results. Smart people ask better questions. When something goes wrong, many people ask, "Why does this always happen to me?" This question creates blame. It creates frustration. It creates helplessness. Smart people ask, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "What can I improve?" One question makes you a victim. The other makes you stronger. Questions direct your focus, and focus shapes your life. If you ask, "Why am I so unlucky?" your brain searches for proof of bad luck. If you ask, "What opportunity is hidden here?" your brain searches for possibility. Your brain is like a search engine. It answers the questions you give it. So give it better commands. When you face a challenge, instead of asking, "Why is this hard?" ask, "How can I make this easier?" That small shift moves you from emotion to solution. Smart people train themselves to question everything productively. They ask, is this fact or opinion? They ask, what evidence supports this? They ask, what would happen if I tried a different approach? Better questions create deeper thinking, and deeper thinking creates better decisions. Let's talk about learning. Most people read or listen passively. They accept information quickly. They rarely challenge it. Smart people read actively. They ask, do I agree with this? Why does this work? How can I apply this? Application is intelligence in action. Another powerful question smart people use is, what is the long-term consequence? Before reacting, before deciding, before speaking, they pause and ask this. What happens next? This question protects you from impulsive behavior. It stretches your thinking beyond the present moment. Impulsive people live in the now. Smart people think ahead. Questions also improve relationships. Instead of assuming, ask. Instead of judging, ask. Instead of arguing, ask. When someone disagrees with you, instead of saying, you're wrong, try asking, can you explain your perspective? This lowers tension. It increases understanding. It builds respect. People feel heard when you ask thoughtful questions. That makes you not only smarter, but stronger socially. Another powerful question is, what am I missing? This question builds humility. Overconfidence blocks growth. When you believe you already know everything, you stop improving. But when you regularly ask, what am I missing? Your mind stays open. Open minds grow. Closed minds stagnate. Smart people are comfortable not knowing. They do not fear uncertainty. They explore it. Let's apply this to personal growth. Instead of asking, how can I be successful? Ask, what daily habits create success? Instead of asking, how do I get rich? Ask, how do I become valuable? The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thinking, and the quality of your thinking depends on the quality of your questions. Most people ask questions that protect their ego. Smart people ask questions that challenge their ego. Ego wants comfort. Growth requires discomfort. When you fail, ask, what skill do I need to improve? When you succeed, ask, how can I do this even better? Both success and failure become teachers. Another advanced question is, what would someone smarter than me do in this situation? This removes emotion. It creates perspective. It forces you to step outside yourself. Perspective creates wisdom. Smart people also ask future-focused questions. Where will I be in 5 years if I continue this habit? Is this action aligned with my long-term goal? Alignment creates clarity. Clarity reduces stress. Many people feel lost because they ask vague questions like, what should I do with my life? Try asking something smaller and more actionable. What skill can I improve this month? What habit can I build this week? Small questions create small wins. Small wins create momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence fuels intelligence. Another powerful habit is asking yourself nightly, what did I learn today? This builds awareness. It turns ordinary days into growth days. Without reflection, experience is wasted. Smart people turn experience into insight. Questions are tools. If you use weak tools, you build weak results. If you use strong tools, you build strong outcomes. So train yourself. Before reacting, ask. Before deciding, ask. Before judging, ask. Make curiosity your default. Because smart people are not just thinkers, they are questioners, and better questions rewire your mind. That is Rule 4. Rule 5. Protect your focus. In today's world, focus is rare, and rare skills create powerful people. Most people believe they are thinking deeply, but in reality, their attention is broken every few minutes. Notifications, messages, noise, endless scrolling, constant distraction. Smart people understand something critical. Focus is power. When you control your focus, you control your progress. Your brain cannot grow strong if it is constantly interrupted. Every time you switch tasks, your mind loses energy. Every time you check your phone, your thinking resets. This weakens clarity. Smart people treat focus like a valuable resource. They protect it. Think about this. If you could focus deeply for 2 hours every day without distraction, your life would change. You would learn faster, work better, solve problems more clearly. But most people cannot focus for even 10 minutes. Why? Because they never trained it. Focus is not automatic. It is built. Distraction feels easy. Focus feels uncomfortable at first. When you sit quietly and try to concentrate, your mind wants to escape. It looks for stimulation. That is normal. But smart people push through that discomfort. They build the ability to stay with one task, one idea, one problem, until it is finished. This is how real intelligence grows. Let's talk about the phone. Your phone is not evil, but it is designed to steal attention. Every notification is a small interruption. Each interruption breaks mental flow. Smart people reduce unnecessary notifications. They silence what is not important. They create boundaries with technology. They decide when to use their phone. Their phone does not decide for them. That is control. Another part of protecting focus is choosing priorities. If everything feels important, nothing gets full attention. Smart people decide what truly matters today. They choose 1 or 2 key tasks. They finish those before moving to smaller things. Completion builds confidence. Constant switching builds anxiety. Focus also means saying no. No to unnecessary meetings. No to meaningless conversations. No to activities that drain energy. Many people say yes to everything. Then they feel overwhelmed. Smart people understand that every yes is a no to something else. If you say yes to distraction, you say no to growth. Protecting focus also improves learning. When you read with full attention, understanding deepens. When you listen carefully, ideas connect. When you study without checking your phone, retention improves. Depth creates mastery. Surface attention creates shallow knowledge. Another powerful habit smart people use is time blocks. They work in clear periods, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. During that time, no interruptions, no switching. After that, they rest briefly. This rhythm trains the brain. Focus, rest, focus, rest. Over time, focus becomes stronger. Focus also improves emotional control. When you train attention, you train awareness. You notice distractions faster. You notice negative thoughts earlier. You notice impulses before acting. Attention creates space between feeling and reaction. That space is intelligence. Let's consider something simple. When you are having a conversation, do you truly listen, or are you thinking about what to say next, or checking your phone? Smart people listen fully. They give complete attention. This builds stronger relationships and deeper understanding. People feel respected when you focus on them. Respect builds influence. Influence builds opportunity. Focus is not only about work, it is about presence. Being fully present in one moment is powerful. Many people live distracted lives. They are always somewhere else mentally. Smart people train themselves to stay here. In the task, in the conversation, in the thought. This creates calm. Calm creates clarity. Clarity creates better decisions. There is another hidden benefit of focus: creativity. When you stay with a problem long enough, deeper ideas appear. But if you switch too quickly, you never reach that level. Great thinkers sit with problems. They allow their mind to explore deeply. This requires uninterrupted time. Protecting focus also means protecting sleep. A tired brain cannot focus well. Sleep restores attention. Without it, thinking becomes slow. Everything connects. Energy supports focus. Focus supports growth. If you want to become smarter, treat attention like money. Spend it carefully. Invest it wisely. Do not waste it on noise. You do not need to eliminate all distractions immediately. Start small. Choose 1 hour daily with no phone. Choose one conversation with full presence. Choose one task finished without interruption. Build from there. Over time, your mind becomes sharper. You will notice that others are easily distracted. You will notice you can stay steady. Steady minds win long term, because intelligence is not only knowledge, it is sustained attention applied in the right direction. Protect your focus. Guard your attention. Design your day around what matters, because what you focus on grows. And that is Rule 5. Rule 6. Control your emotions. Intelligence is not only about thinking clearly, it is about feeling clearly. Most people believe being smart means having knowledge, but many knowledgeable people make terrible decisions because they cannot control their emotions. Smart people understand one powerful truth. If you cannot control your emotions will control you. And emotions are fast. Anger is fast. Fear is fast. Excitement is fast. But wisdom is slow. When someone insults you, anger rises immediately. When you lose money, fear rises instantly. When you see opportunity, excitement pushes you to act quickly. Emotions are not bad. They are signals. They tell you something matters. But signals are not commands. Smart people pause before acting on emotion. They ask, is this feeling helping me or hurting me? That simple question creates distance. Distance creates control. Control creates intelligence. Let's talk about anger. Anger feels powerful. It feels strong. But most damage in life comes from uncontrolled anger. Broken relationships, lost opportunities, words you cannot take back. Smart people understand that anger is energy. Energy can destroy, or it can be redirected. Instead of shouting, they stay silent. Instead of reacting, they observe. Instead of attacking, they respond calmly. Calm is not weakness. Calm is control. Now think about fear. Fear often stops people from growth. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. Fear protects you from danger, but it also blocks opportunity. Smart people do not ignore fear. They analyze it. They ask, is this real danger or imagined danger? Most modern fear is imagined. The brain reacts as if something is life-threatening, but in reality it is just discomfort. Public speaking feels scary, but it is not danger. Starting a business feels risky, but it is not death. Smart people move forward despite emotional discomfort. They separate feeling from reality. Excitement is also dangerous. Excitement makes you rush. It makes you say yes too quickly. It makes you invest without thinking. Smart people slow down even when excited. They ask, what could go wrong? Balance creates protection. Emotional control also improves relationships. When someone criticizes you, your ego wants defense. But smart people listen first. They separate emotion from information. Maybe the criticism contains something useful. If you react emotionally, you miss the lesson. Control creates growth. Another important emotion is jealousy. Jealousy feels uncomfortable. It makes you compare yourself to others. It makes you feel behind. Smart people turn jealousy into motivation. Instead of asking, why them, they ask, what can I learn from them? Comparison can destroy confidence, or it can create ambition. The difference is emotional control. Stress is another powerful emotion. When pressure rises, many people panic. Their thinking becomes narrow. They make rushed decisions. Smart people slow down under pressure. They breathe deeply. They think clearly. They understand that panic reduces intelligence. Calm increases it. Here is something important. Emotional control does not mean emotional suppression. Smart people do not ignore feelings. They acknowledge them. They say internally, I feel angry. I feel afraid. I feel excited. Naming the emotion reduces its power. When you understand what you feel, you manage it better. Another powerful tool is time. Time reduces emotional intensity. If you are upset, wait. If you are excited, wait. If you are afraid, wait. Give yourself space before making decisions. Time creates clarity. Many life mistakes happen because people act in the peak of emotion. Smart people decide in a neutral state. They do not send emotional messages at midnight. They do not make major decisions in extreme stress. They protect themselves from temporary feelings. Emotional control also builds reputation. People trust calm individuals. They feel safe around them. Leaders who control emotion inspire confidence. Unstable emotion creates unstable leadership. Stability creates influence. Here is a simple exercise. The next time you feel strong emotion, pause and breathe slowly 5 times. Feel your heartbeat. Notice your thoughts. Ask, what is the smartest move right now? This habit strengthens emotional muscles. Just like physical muscles, emotional control improves with practice. At first, you will fail sometimes. That is normal. But each time you pause instead of react, you become stronger. Over time, people will notice. They will see that you are harder to provoke, harder to manipulate, harder to disturb. That is power. Because when others try to control you emotionally and fail, you gain advantage. Emotional control also protects mental health. Constant emotional reaction creates exhaustion. Calm thinking preserves energy. Energy supports growth. Remember this. You cannot control what happens, but you can control how you respond, and your response shapes your future. Intelligence is not about eliminating emotion. It is about mastering it. Feel deeply, but act wisely. That is Rule 6. Rule 7. Delay gratification. If you want to know one of the biggest differences between average people and highly intelligent people, it is this. Smart people can wait. They delay gratification. Gratification means pleasure, comfort, reward, the feeling of getting something now. Most people choose now. Smart people choose later. The human brain loves instant reward. Sugar tastes good immediately. Scrolling feels good instantly. Buying something new feels exciting right away. Watching another video feels easy, but growth rarely feels good immediately. Studying is uncomfortable at first. Saving money feels restrictive. Exercising feels hard. Building a business feels slow. The intelligent mind understands something powerful. Short-term pleasure often creates long-term pain. Short-term discipline often creates long-term freedom. That is the trade. When you delay gratification, you choose long-term reward over short-term comfort. This is not about suffering. It is about strategy. Let's take a simple example. You earn money. You can spend it immediately on things you want, or you can save and invest it. Spending gives instant pleasure. Saving feels boring. But 10 years later, the saver has options. The spender has stress. Smart people think in time horizons. They ask, how will this decision affect me in 5 years? Most people think in 5 minutes. This difference creates huge gaps in life. Delay gratification also applies to learning. Instead of watching entertainment for 3 hours, smart people study. They read, they practice, they sacrifice comfort today to build competence tomorrow. Competence creates confidence. Confidence creates opportunity. Let's talk about food. Eating unhealthy food gives instant pleasure, but over time, it damages health. Exercising is uncomfortable now, but it builds strength later. The brain always offers you 2 choices: easy now, better later. Smart people choose better later. This does not mean they never enjoy life. It means they control when and how. Control is the key. When you delay gratification, you strengthen self-discipline, and self-discipline strengthens intelligence. Because intelligent decision-making requires resisting impulses. Impulses are emotional. Strategy is rational. Smart people do not let impulses control them. They understand that every time you say no to something small, you become stronger. Every time you choose to study instead of scroll, you build focus. Every time you save instead of spend, you build stability. Every time you practice instead of procrastinate, you build skill. These small decisions, compounding is powerful. If you improve 1% daily, the difference becomes massive over time. But if you choose instant pleasure daily, the damage compounds too. Most people underestimate how much small choices matter. They say it's just one day. But life is built from days. Delay gratification is not about extreme discipline. It is about consistent, small restraint. You do not need to sacrifice everything. You need to sacrifice what blocks growth. Smart people ask themselves, is this helping my future or harming it? That question changes behavior. Another powerful area is relationships. Instead of chasing quick excitement, smart people build long-term trust. They choose loyalty over temporary attraction. They choose stability over chaos because they think long-term. Delayed gratification also improves emotional strength. When you want to argue immediately but choose silence, that is delay. When you want to quit but choose persistence, that is delay. When you want comfort but choose growth, that is delay. Each time you delay, you train your brain. You prove to yourself that you are in control. And control builds confidence. Confidence builds intelligence. Many successful people are not more talented than others. They are simply more patient. Patience is intelligence in action. They understand that big results take time. They plant seeds and wait. Most people dig up the seed too early, looking for progress. Growth is slow, but slow growth is stable growth. Imagine two people. One saves money for 10 years. One spends everything for 10 years. After 10 years, the difference is dramatic. Now apply this to knowledge, to skills, to health. Time amplifies discipline. Time punishes impulsiveness. Smart people respect time. They understand that today's sacrifice is tomorrow's strength. You do not need to change everything today. Start small. Wait before buying something unnecessary. Wait before responding emotionally. Wait before quitting something difficult. Build the habit of pause. The pause between desire and action is power. Inside that pause, intelligence lives. If you master this rule, your life will change dramatically. Because most people cannot wait. If you can, you gain advantage. Delay gratification. Choose growth over comfort. Choose future over now. Choose discipline over impulse. That is Rule 7. Rule 8. Think in systems, not events. Most people think in events. Smart people think in systems. An event is something that happens once. A bad day, a mistake, a success, a failure, an argument, a lucky break. A system is the structure behind repeated results. If you fail a test, that is an event. If you constantly fail tests, that is a system problem. If you gain weight 1 week, that is an event. If you gain weight every year, that is a system. Smart people do not focus only on single moments. They look for patterns. Patterns reveal truth. When something good happens, average people celebrate the event. Smart people ask, what system created this success? When something bad happens, average people blame the event. Smart people ask, what system allowed this to happen? This shift changes everything. Let's say you want to become smarter. You read one book. That is an event. But reading one book does not change your life. Creating a daily reading habit is a system. Systems produce consistent results. Events produce temporary emotion. Many people get excited after watching a motivational video. That is an event. But without a system, motivation disappears. Smart people design routines. They create structures that repeat automatically. Instead of saying, I will study hard today, they say, I study every day at 7 p.m. Instead of saying, I want to be healthy, they say, I exercise 3 times a week. Instead of hoping for success, they build habits that create success. This is powerful because systems remove emotion from decision-making. When something becomes routine, it requires less energy. Energy is limited. Systems protect energy. Another example is money. Many people hope to become rich by one big opportunity. That is event thinking. Smart people think in systems. They create income streams. They invest consistently. They reduce unnecessary expenses. Small financial systems create stability. One lucky event rarely does. In relationships, event thinking says, "We had a big fight. Everything is ruined." System thinking says, "What communication pattern led to this?" When you fix the system, you fix the outcome. Most frustration in life comes from ignoring systems. People complain about being tired but sleep late every night. They complain about stress but accept chaos daily. They complain about lack of progress but have no structure. Events are symptoms. Systems are causes. Smart people focus on causes. They understand that if the system improves, results improve naturally. Think about athletes. They do not win because of one good day. They win because of years of training systems, diet system, sleep system, practice system, recovery system. Success becomes predictable when systems are strong. Systems also reduce emotional reactions. If you lose money in business instead of panicking, you analyze the system. What failed? Marketing system? Product system? Communication system? Improving the system prevents repetition. Thinking in systems also creates patience. Because systems take time to show results. If you plant a tree, you do not expect fruit tomorrow. You water it daily. That watering is the system. Most people quit because they expect fast results from weak systems. Smart people trust the process. They adjust slowly. They observe patterns. They refine structures. Another important part of system thinking is environment design. Remember Rule 3. Your environment is part of your system. If your workspace supports focus, productivity becomes easier. If your home supports distraction, focus becomes difficult. Systems create default behavior. Default behavior creates results. You do not rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. If your system for learning is strong, knowledge increases automatically. If your system for spending is careless, money disappears automatically. Automatic patterns shape destiny. Smart people ask themselves powerful questions. What daily actions create this result? If I repeat this habit for 5 years, where will I be? Is my system aligned with my goals? Alignment is crucial. You cannot want success while building systems for failure. You cannot want health while maintaining habits that damage your body. You cannot want intelligence while consuming only entertainment. Systems reveal honesty. They show what you truly prioritize. If you say you value growth, your system should show learning. If you say you value discipline, your routine should show structure. Words do not matter. Systems do. Another advantage of system thinking is emotional stability. When something goes wrong, you do not feel hopeless. You analyze calmly, because you know that changing the structure changes the outcome. You are no longer a victim of events. You are the architect of systems. Architects build intentionally. They design carefully. They think long-term. That is intelligence. Instead of chasing big moments, build strong foundations. Instead of waiting for luck, build consistency. Instead of reacting to events, improve systems. Small system upgrades create big life changes. Add a fixed reading time. Add a savings percentage. Add a weekly reflection. Add a focused work block. Tiny structural shifts compound. Over time, people will think you are lucky. But you know the truth. You built the system. And the system built you. Think in systems, not events. That is Rule 8. Rule 9. Stay calm. Under pressure. Pressure reveals who you really are. When everything is easy, anyone can look smart. Anyone can appear confident. Anyone can seem calm. But when problems appear, when deadlines are close, when money is tight, when emotions rise, that is when real intelligence shows. Smart people stay calm under pressure, not because they feel no stress, but because they control it. Pressure is part of life. You cannot avoid it. Business creates pressure. Relationships create pressure. Growth creates pressure. If you want a bigger life, you must handle bigger pressure. Many people collapse when stress rises. Their thinking becomes narrow. They panic. They rush decisions. They blame others. They lose control. Panic reduces intelligence. Calm increases intelligence. When you are calm, your brain works better. You see more options. You analyze clearly. You respond instead of react. Stress activates survival mode. In survival mode, the brain focuses only on immediate danger. It stops creative thinking. It stops long-term thinking. But most modern pressure is not life-threatening. It feels dangerous, but it is not. An interview is pressure. A presentation is pressure. A financial loss is pressure. But these are not physical threats. Smart people train themselves to remember this. They tell themselves, "This is uncomfortable but not dangerous." That sentence changes everything. Calm is a skill, and like every skill, it can be trained. First, smart people control breathing. When pressure rises, breathing becomes fast and shallow. This tells the body that danger is near. Slow breathing sends the opposite message: safety, stability, control. A simple habit is this: when stress appears, inhale slowly for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly for 4 seconds. Repeat. This small action lowers emotional intensity. Second, smart people focus on the next step. Pressure often feels overwhelming because you think about everything at once. Too many problems, too many risks, too many unknowns. Instead of thinking about everything, focus on one small action. What is the next logical step? One phone call, one email, one adjustment. Small steps reduce chaos. Clarity reduces panic. Another powerful mindset is perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Most pressure situations feel huge in the moment, but in long-term perspective, they are small. Smart people zoom out. They see the bigger picture. Zooming out reduces emotional intensity. It reminds you that one mistake does not define your life. It reminds you that one bad day does not destroy your future. Calm also builds reputation. People trust those who stay steady in difficult moments. If you panic during crisis, others lose confidence in you. If you remain calm, others feel safe. Calm creates leadership. Even if you are not in a formal leadership role, emotional stability makes people respect you. Pressure also tests preparation. Often, stress feels stronger when you are unprepared. Smart people prepare before pressure arrives. They study before exams. They practice before presentations. They build savings before emergencies. Preparation reduces fear. Fear grows in uncertainty. Certainty comes from practice. Another important truth is this: pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is feedback. It shows where you need improvement. If you feel extreme anxiety during public speaking, maybe you need more practice. If you panic during financial challenges, maybe you need better planning. Instead of avoiding pressure, learn from it. Each stressful moment is training. Every time you stay calm, your tolerance increases. Your threshold grows. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. This is growth. Think about athletes. They train under pressure. They simulate difficult conditions. So when real competition arrives, their mind stays steady. You can do the same. Expose yourself to small stress. Take small risks. Speak in small groups. Make small investments. Handle small challenges. Build capacity gradually. Over time, your nervous system becomes stronger. Calm under pressure is not natural for most people. It is built through repetition. Another key skill is emotional separation. When pressure appears, separate facts from feelings. Fact: the project is late. Feeling: I am a failure. Those are different. Do not mix them. Smart people analyze facts without attacking themselves emotionally. Self-attack increases pressure. Self-compassion reduces it. Be firm but not cruel with yourself. Pressure is also connected to identity. If you believe you are weak, pressure confirms that belief. If you believe you are capable, pressure becomes challenge. Identity shapes reaction. Build an identity of strength. Tell yourself, I handle difficult situations. Repeat it. Your brain listens. Staying calm does not mean ignoring reality. It means responding strategically. It means acting from clarity, not chaos. When others panic, you remain steady. When others shout, you speak slowly. When others freeze, you move carefully. That is intelligence, because life will not become easier, but you can become stronger. Pressure will always exist, but panic does not have to. Master your breathing. Control your focus. Zoom out. Take one step. Stay steady. Because when you stay calm under pressure, you gain advantage. And that is Rule 9. Rule 10. Learn to be alone. Most people are afraid of being alone. Silence feels uncomfortable. No phone, no noise, no conversation, just thoughts. Many people escape this space quickly. They open social media. They turn on music. They call someone. They distract themselves. Smart people do the opposite. They learn to be alone, because alone is where thinking becomes clear. When you are always surrounded by noise, your thoughts mix with other people's opinions. You absorb ideas without questioning them. You follow trends without reflection. Alone time creates space. Space creates clarity. Clarity creates intelligence. Being alone does not mean being lonely. Loneliness is emotional pain. Alone time is intentional growth. There is a big difference. Smart people schedule time with themselves. They walk alone. They sit quietly. They think without interruption. In that quiet space, something powerful happens. You start to hear your real thoughts, not the loud thoughts influenced by others, but the deeper ones. Many people do not know what they truly believe because they never sit quietly long enough to find out. They adopt opinions from friends, from social media, from news, from culture. But smart people reflect. They ask themselves, what do I actually think? What do I truly want? What kind of person do I want to become? These questions require silence. Without silence, self-awareness cannot grow. Self-awareness is intelligence directed inward. When you understand yourself, you make better decisions. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know your triggers, you know your values. This knowledge protects you. Another powerful benefit of being alone is emotional regulation. When you sit quietly with your thoughts, you learn to observe them instead of reacting. You notice anxiety, you notice anger, you notice fear, but instead of escaping, you sit with it. This builds emotional strength. If you constantly distract yourself, emotions control you from the background. If you face them calmly, you gain control. Alone time also improves creativity. Many great ideas appear in silence. When your brain is not overloaded with information, it begins connecting ideas. Creative insight needs space. Constant stimulation blocks deep thinking. Smart people reduce noise intentionally. They understand that too much input weakens clarity. Another important truth is this: if you cannot enjoy your own company, you will depend too much on others for validation. Dependency weakens identity. Smart people are comfortable alone. They do not need constant approval. They build internal confidence. Internal confidence is stronger than external praise. When you learn to be alone, you become less influenced by pressure. Peer pressure loses power. Trends lose power. Manipulation loses power. Because you know who you are. Alone time also builds discipline. Sitting quietly without stimulation is not easy at first. Your mind will try to escape. It will look for distraction. But if you stay, you strengthen focus. You strengthen patience. You strengthen self-control. These qualities increase intelligence. Let's talk about problem solving. When facing a difficult decision, many people immediately ask others for advice. Advice can be helpful, but sometimes you need to think independently. Alone time allows you to analyze deeply without emotional noise from others. You weigh options carefully. You listen to intuition. You consider consequences calmly. Smart decisions often require solitude. History shows that many great thinkers valued time alone. They walked alone. They wrote alone. They reflected alone. They understood that silence sharpens thought. Another benefit is emotional reset. Life is busy. Conversations, work, expectations, responsibilities. Alone time allows your nervous system to relax. It restores mental energy. Energy improves focus. Focus improves intelligence. Being alone also helps you measure your progress. When you sit quietly, you can review your habits. Did I improve this week? Did I control my emotions? Did I protect my focus? Reflection turns experience into growth. Without reflection, days pass without learning. Many people fear being alone because they fear facing themselves. They avoid silence because silence reveals truth. But growth requires truth. You cannot improve what you refuse to see. Learning to be alone builds courage. Courage to face your thoughts. Courage to face your flaws. Courage to improve honestly. Start small. 10 minutes without phone, 10 minutes of quiet walking, 10 minutes of journaling. Build from there. Do not expect comfort immediately. It may feel strange at first, but over time, you will begin to enjoy it. You will notice clarity increasing. You will notice emotional stability improving. You will notice independence strengthening. When you are comfortable alone, you choose relationships from strength, not need. You speak from confidence, not fear. You think from clarity, not confusion. Solitude is not weakness. It is mental training. It is self-discovery. It is emotional strengthening. In silence, you build yourself. And when you return to the world, you are sharper, stronger, clearer. Learn to be alone, because the person you become in silence determines the life you build in noise. That is Rule 10. Rule 11. Embrace discomfort. Most people run away from discomfort. If something feels hard, they stop. If something feels awkward, they avoid it. If something feels uncertain, they delay it. Smart people understand something different. Discomfort is a signal of growth. When you go to the gym for the first time, your muscles hurt. That pain is not damage, it is adaptation. Your body is learning to become stronger. The same is true for the mind. When you learn a new skill, it feels confusing. When you speak in public, it feels scary. When you start a business, it feels risky. That uncomfortable feeling is expansion. If you only stay where you feel comfortable, you stay the same. Comfort maintains, discomfort transforms. Many people say they want to grow, but they also want to feel comfortable all the time. That is impossible. Growth and comfort rarely exist together. Smart people accept this truth early. They expect discomfort. They do not see it as a problem. They see it as proof. Proof that they are moving forward. Think about your life. The moments that changed you were not easy. They were challenging. They required effort. They forced adaptation. Discomfort builds resilience. Resilience builds confidence. Confidence builds intelligence. Let's talk about fear again. Fear feels uncomfortable. It creates tension in the body. It creates doubt in the mind. Most people interpret fear as a sign to stop. Smart people interpret fear as a sign to prepare. Fear often appears when you are about to grow, before a big presentation, before a new opportunity, before a difficult conversation. If you avoid every situation that creates discomfort, you avoid every opportunity that builds strength. Another example is learning. When studying something difficult, your brain feels tired. You want to quit. That is mental discomfort. If you push through that moment, your brain builds new connections. If you stop, growth stops. Discomfort is like resistance training for your mind. Without resistance, there is no development. Smart people train themselves to tolerate small discomfort daily. Cold showers, early mornings, hard conversations, focused study sessions. Each small discomfort strengthens willpower. Willpower strengthens discipline. Discipline strengthens intelligence. Another powerful truth is this: comfort creates fragility. If you always choose the easiest option, your tolerance decreases. Small problems feel huge, small challenges feel overwhelming. But if you regularly face discomfort, your tolerance expands. What once felt scary becomes normal. This is how confidence grows. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is familiarity with discomfort. Smart people do not wait until they feel ready. They act while uncomfortable. Because readiness often comes after action, not before it. Let's apply this to social situations. Many people avoid speaking because they feel awkward. But every time you speak, you reduce that discomfort. Over time, communication becomes natural. Avoidance strengthens fear. Exposure weakens it. Discomfort also teaches patience. When building something meaningful, results are slow. The waiting period feels uncomfortable. You question progress. You doubt yourself. But smart people stay consistent during slow phases. They understand that progress is not always visible immediately. Roots grow underground before the tree appears. If you quit during discomfort, you never see the result. Another area where discomfort is powerful is honesty. Being honest with yourself can feel uncomfortable. Admitting weakness, admitting mistakes, admitting ignorance. But self-honesty creates clarity. Clarity creates improvement. Denial protects ego. Truth builds strength. Discomfort is also connected to identity. If you see yourself as someone who avoids difficulty, you will continue avoiding it. If you see yourself as someone who handles difficulty, you step forward. Identity shapes action. Tell yourself, I do hard things. Repeat it. Act on it. Build evidence. Small, courageous actions change identity. Smart people also understand that comfort is addictive. Easy entertainment, easy pleasure, easy escape. These feel good temporarily, but weaken long-term strength. Balance is important. Rest is important. But constant comfort is dangerous. It makes discipline harder. It makes focus weaker. It makes growth slower. You do not need extreme suffering. You need controlled challenge. Choose challenges intentionally. Sign up for a course that stretches you. Start conversations that challenge you. Take projects that scare you slightly. Gradual exposure builds capability. Over time, discomfort becomes normal. And when something becomes normal, it no longer controls you. The person who can tolerate discomfort has advantage in business, in relationships, in learning, in life. Because when others quit, you continue. When others hesitate, you move. When others complain, you adapt. This creates separation. Most people choose comfort. Few choose growth. If you choose growth repeatedly, your future changes. Discomfort is not punishment. It is preparation. It prepares you for higher levels, higher responsibility, higher achievement, higher awareness. Do not run from the hard conversation. Do not avoid the difficult task. Do not delay the uncomfortable decision. Step into it. Stay with it. Grow through it. Because the version of you that exists on the other side of discomfort is stronger than the one you are today. Embrace discomfort. That is Rule 11. Rule 12. Seek truth, not validation. Most people want to be right. Smart people want to be accurate. There is a difference. Validation feels good. When someone agrees with you, you feel safe. When people like your opinion, you feel accepted. When your ideas receive praise, your ego feels strong. But validation is comfort. Truth is power. If you only search for agreement, your thinking becomes narrow. You start surrounding yourself with people who think the same way. You avoid criticism. You ignore opposing ideas. This feels safe, but it weakens intelligence. Smart people seek truth even when it is uncomfortable. They ask, is this actually correct? Not, do people agree with me? When you choose truth over validation, you grow faster. Validation protects ego. Truth strengthens mind. Let's say you believe something strongly. Someone challenges your idea. Many people feel attacked. They defend immediately. They argue emotionally. Smart people pause. They listen. They consider the possibility that they might be wrong. Being wrong is not weakness. Refusing to admit it is. Every time you accept correction, you upgrade your thinking. Every time you reject feedback because it hurts, you freeze your growth. Truth sometimes damages pride, but it builds wisdom. Another important part of seeking truth is questioning your own beliefs. Where did this belief come from? Is it based on evidence, or emotion, or habit? Many people inherit opinions without examination, from family, from culture, from social groups. Smart people test beliefs. They research, they compare sources, they analyze evidence. This does not mean becoming skeptical of everything. It means becoming thoughtful. Thoughtfulness is intelligence applied carefully. Seeking truth also requires courage. Sometimes truth is unpopular. Sometimes truth isolates you. If your identity depends on approval, you will avoid truth. But if your identity depends on growth, you will chase truth. Let's talk about feedback. When someone criticizes your work, your first instinct might be defense. But what if the criticism contains improvement? Smart people extract value from feedback. They separate tone from content. Maybe the delivery was harsh, but maybe the message is useful. If you only seek validation, you ignore useful correction. If you seek truth, you improve. Validation is short-term comfort. Truth is long-term advantage. Another powerful example is social media. It rewards validation. Likes, comments, shares. These feel good, but they do not always reflect truth. An idea can be popular and still be wrong. Smart people are careful not to confuse popularity with accuracy. Crowds can be loud, but truth is often quiet. Seek evidence, seek logic, seek depth. Do not chase applause. Chasing validation leads to insecurity. You begin to adjust your opinions to gain approval. You change your behavior to avoid criticism. You become reactive instead of authentic. Authenticity grows when truth matters more than praise. Smart people are comfortable saying, "I don't know." This sentence protects intelligence. Pretending to know everything blocks learning. Admitting ignorance opens the door to knowledge. There is strength in humility. When you say, "I may be wrong," you allow improvement. Ego resists this, but growth requires it. Seeking truth also means seeking self-truth. Be honest about your weaknesses. Be honest about your habits. Be honest about your excuses. It is easy to create stories that protect pride. It wasn't my fault. The timing was bad. They didn't understand me. Sometimes those stories are true, but sometimes they are shields. Smart people ask themselves hard questions. Did I prepare enough? Did I overreact? Am I avoiding responsibility? Self-honesty is powerful. It prevents self-deception. Self-deception feels comfortable, but it slows progress. Truth may sting, but it heals. Validation may soothe, but it weakens. Another benefit of seeking truth is better decision-making. When you base decisions on facts instead of emotions, results improve. When you gather diverse opinions instead of only supportive ones, perspective expands. Perspective strengthens judgment. Judgment shapes life. Seeking truth also reduces fear of criticism. If your goal is to be right all the time, criticism feels dangerous. If your goal is to find truth, criticism becomes information. Information improves you. Over time, this mindset builds confidence. Not the fragile confidence that depends on praise, but strong confidence based on reality. Reality-tested confidence is stable. It does not collapse under disagreement. It does not need constant reassurance. It stands firm. Smart people value progress more than pride. They care about getting better more than looking good. This separates mature thinkers from reactive thinkers. It is easy to protect image. It is harder to pursue accuracy. But accuracy compounds. If you correct small errors early, you avoid large errors later. Small course corrections change long-term direction. Imagine an airplane slightly off course. If corrected early, it arrives safely. If ignored, it lands in the wrong city. Truth is correction. Validation is comfort. Choose correction. Choose clarity. Choose growth. Because intelligence is not about defending your current position. It is about improving it. Seek truth, not validation. That is Rule 12. Rule 13. Think long-term. Most people live in the present moment, not in a mindful way, but in a short-term way. They think about today's comfort, today's emotion, today's reward. Smart people think differently. They think long-term. Long-term thinking changes behavior. When you only think about today, small pleasures feel powerful. Skipping work feels harmless. Spending money feels easy. Avoiding discomfort feels justified. But when you think about 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, decisions look different. Long-term thinking creates discipline. Short-term thinking creates impulse. Imagine two versions of yourself. One makes decisions based on how they feel right now. The other makes decisions based on where they want to be in 5 years. Which one becomes stronger? Smart people ask one powerful question regularly. If I repeat this behavior for 5 years, where will it lead? That question changes everything. If you repeat procrastination for 5 years, where will you be? If you repeat daily learning for 5 years, where will you be? If you repeat unhealthy habits for 5 years, what happens? Time amplifies everything. Time is neutral. It multiplies whatever you feed it. Long-term thinkers respect time deeply. They understand that small actions compound. Compounding works in knowledge. Compounding works in money. Compounding works in relationships. Compounding works in health. Most people underestimate compounding because results are invisible at first. You read one book, nothing dramatic happens. You save a small amount, nothing dramatic happens. You exercise 1 week, nothing dramatic happens. But years later, the difference becomes massive. Smart people stay consistent even when results are not visible. They trust the process. They focus on trajectory, not moment. Trajectory means direction. Are you moving forward or backward? Even slowly forward is powerful. Many people chase quick success. They want immediate transformation. But quick success without foundation often collapses. Long-term thinking builds foundation. Foundation creates stability. Stability supports growth. Let's talk about relationships. Short-term thinking asks, does this feel exciting now? Long-term thinking asks, is this healthy and stable for the future? Short-term thinking chases intensity. Long-term thinking builds trust. Trust creates lasting connection. In business, short-term thinking chases quick profit. Long-term thinking builds reputation. Reputation creates sustainability. Smart people sacrifice immediate gain for lasting strength. Another important area is identity. If you think short-term, you define yourself by temporary results. One failure feels permanent. One success feels final. But long-term thinkers understand that identity is shaped over time. You are not your worst day. You are not your best day. You are your habits over years. Long-term thinking reduces emotional extremes. When something goes wrong, you say, this is a small part of a long journey. When something goes right, you say, stay disciplined, keep building. It creates emotional balance. Balance increases clarity. Clarity increases intelligence. Another powerful benefit of long-term thinking is patience. Patience is rare. Most people want fast validation, fast money, fast results. But intelligence grows slowly. Mastery takes years. Wealth compounds slowly. Deep relationships build gradually. Smart people accept this. They play long games. They choose careers carefully. They invest in skills that remain valuable. They think beyond trends. They focus on fundamentals. Fundamentals survive time. Trends disappear. Long-term thinking also protects you from distraction. If something does not support your 5-year vision, you ignore it. If something does not align with your long-term goals, you decline it. Clarity simplifies decision-making. When you know where you are going, choices become easier. Without long-term vision, every opportunity looks attractive. With long-term vision, you filter wisely. Another important truth is this: short-term thinking creates stress. Long-term thinking creates stability. When you focus only on today's problems, everything feels urgent. When you zoom out, you see that many problems are temporary. Zooming out reduces panic. It strengthens resilience. Resilience strengthens intelligence. Think about your future self. 10 years from now, what would that version of you thank you for today? More study? Better health habits? More discipline? Less distraction? Use that image as guidance. Your future self depends on your present choices. Long-term thinkers build for that person. They sacrifice small pleasures for bigger freedom. They understand that freedom comes from preparation. Preparation takes time. You do not become strong overnight. You build strength daily. You do not become wise instantly. You accumulate insight gradually. Time rewards consistency. Time punishes impulsiveness. Smart people choose to work with time, not against it. They align habits with vision. They act with patience. They think beyond the moment, because life is not won in a single day. It is shaped across decades. If you think long-term, you stop reacting emotionally to small setbacks. You stay steady. You stay focused. You stay disciplined. And that stability creates massive advantage. So ask yourself today, am I living for now, or am I building for later? Choose later. Choose depth. Choose patience. Choose vision. Think long-term. That is Rule 13.